Good day, I'm Gwynneth. I'm going to offer you a 3-pose practice. I'm going to begin sitting either on the floor or a blanket, a cushion, maybe a block, maybe 2 blankets, however you feel most comfortable sitting. And we're going to stretch the legs out wide. Upavistha Konasana, wide stride, seated posture. So sitting with the legs out wide, push out through the heels, spread the toes. Notice as you point the toes and flex the toes, the different sensations. Pointing the toes, flexing the feet and spreading the toes, and then stretching the arms up. Stretching up right from the bottom of the waist, so your whole spine lengthens, and turning to the right side. Parting your hands, using them for support, lifting the chest, sitting up as tall as you can, and perhaps starting to walk your hands forward any amount. You might sit up straight, you might lay along the leg, whatever your body is up for today. While you are stretching out towards the right, see with your inner eye that the left leg is also staying stretched out and pressing down. Starting to come back to center, turning to the front and coming to the second side. Let's take the arms up, get that nice length in the upper body from the waist. And then parting your hands, walking the hands onto either side of your shin, your knee, your foot, and sitting up or starting to come forward. Want to ensure the breath stays smooth, just going in and out of the nose. There's no holding of the breath. The breath isn't jerky. Coming back to center, all the way back to the front. And leaning back a little bit and lifting the legs up, the knees, bringing them back into simple cross leg. The next posture we'll call Matsyasana. That's what it's called, or fish pose. So there are a few ways to do the support of the chest in this reclining position. I'm going to quickly take a blanket. I 3-folded it like an accordion fold, and I've placed it across the mat. For anyone who wants a little more chest support higher, instead of starting with a wide blanket, you could start with a narrower blanket and fold it from this way. You can make, it's a little bit hard to do a 3-fold here, but even a 2-fold, you can see it's a little bit thicker. So I'll maybe take the thicker blanket. I'm a little bit bigger person. I don't mind having my chest a little bit more stretched open, so I'll start there. I've taken a nice comfy pillow. That's my wooden block. You're welcome to take any sort of head support that's available. Could be a pillow or a blanket. And notice how I'm sitting quite far away from this support. So when I lay back, I want the blanket to come into the upper chest. Sort of that if I puff my chest out, or if I sink my chest in and puff my upper back out, you can see that's the area that I actually want to bring in with the support of the blanket. So lean back on the hands. I find my elbows onto that blanket. And from here I can adjust just right in that, just below the armpit area so that the chest is lifting up. There's my pillow for my head. If you want a little bit more of a stretch, it's perfectly fine if you want to let your head come down with the chin lifting up towards the ceiling. So for our practice today, I'm going to keep my head up. And then we have options for the legs. The legs can either be stretched out long. You're welcome to keep them bent, or from the bent position, you can widen the knees, have the feet in prayer position, in Baddha Konasana legs. And if you like the knees wide but not quite fond of that position, the other option would be just to have the legs in simple cross legs. Similarly with the arms, they can be stretched out straight. They can be folded at the elbows and held. I like to turn my head support a little bit so it's jutting out from my head. So as I fold my elbows, I've got a little landing pad for my arms. You can also keep your arms out to the sides or comfortably resting on your torso. So just giving you a few options. Sometimes we take the first option and it feels okay for the first few moments or the first half a minute, and then you might find something needs to change. So just encouraging you to listen to your inner voice. If the arms are giving you a message that they want to change position, then that is correct. So you might at some point take your arms out to the sides. We want to have the goal here, let the breath be in and out smoothly so there's no holding or jerkiness of the breath. Similar with the legs, we may want to change the position of the legs. This kind of posture can help with digestion, elimination. Opening the chest with a supported element for a longer holding can help us emotionally shift and bring a sense of fearlessness into our life. You might start to notice your breath relaxing and an invitation to bring a little more attention to your breath. Perhaps at the end of each exhalation, you observe a pause, just a moment or two of pause before the next inhalation begins. So if our exhalation represents the past, letting go. If our inhalation represents the future, welcoming the inhalation, being ready. Then that pause at the end of each exhale is representational of our present moment. So as you exhale, pause in presence, just for a moment or two. One of the 10 commitments of yoga is santosha, or contentment. Contentment is not a goal that we reach, but rather something that we practice in every day. So as we exhale and pause in presence, we might invite a silent statement. We say to ourselves as we exhale and pause, in this moment, in this body, all is well. In this moment, in this body, all is well. And on our next inhalation, we're going to get ready. Bring your arms and your legs back to neutral. Maybe the arms are touching the torso. Maybe the knees are bent with the feet flat on the floor. An invitation to clasp your hands behind your head, lift your head up, and roll yourself onto your side. Come off of the support, just scoot forward a little bit. Take a few breaths in fetal position. Eyes can be closed, or just focusing on the floor in front of you. Using that top arm, push it into the floor, just to sit up with as much support as you're able to take right now. We're going to come into seated posture again. So nice little blanket under the buttocks. You can notice how my knees are a little bit higher than my hips right here. Sometimes this causes a little bit of discomfort in the hips. So if I can bring a little bit of support under the buttocks, I might even take a little extra support just to demonstrate. If I sit up on lots of height, now you can see my thighs are flat. I could put a cup of tea on my thighs, and that gives my hips a certain type of opening that feels different than when I'm, for example, sitting on the floor with my knees lifted up higher. So I'll let you experiment with that to see what feels best for you. And then sitting back nice and far, I'm going to take a couple of props. Maybe you have a bolster, maybe you have a chair, could be a stool. I happen to have a couple of blocks here. I'm going to make a nice little stack. And as I keep the buttocks back, anchored, even scooting the buttocks back so I feel some support in the thighs on the blanket, coming forward into a forward bend. So lots of options here. You can bring your elbows onto your blocks and rest your forehead into your hands. You may be able to have enough prop option to take some support under the head. We want to feel the full weight of our head into our support. So if you were to feel the back of your neck, the back of the neck is parallel to the ceiling so that there's no sense that the head is dangling out of the shoulders. We want to let the entire weight of the head rest down. Feel the pressure of gravity. And let go of all effort in the neck, in the shoulders. If the elbows are not comfortable on the floor, you can even reach your arms back behind you, palms facing up. Just catching the outer arms, the backs of the arms, the fronts of the arms, some part of your arms on your thighs. And again, if you've noticed that your breath has become shaky or there's any jerkiness to the breath, any holding of the breath, could be an indication that you've maybe come down a little bit too far for the breath to stay smooth. So it might be an opportunity to take yourself up a little bit higher. Even having a chair seat in front of you, you could imagine that this might be the height of a chair seat. Kitchen chair, office chair, you can fold your arms on the chair seat and rest your head onto your arms. So forward bending without the inclusion of straight legs, which was our first position. It's a little bit different effect. And then coming up, we'll change the crossing of the legs and just noticing any difference from side to side. If there's any knee issues, any soreness in the knees, you can always put a little prop underneath the thighs, coming down. Maybe the elbows touch the floor and the head goes into the hands. Elbows can be up on the blocks. So just experimenting with your body today. and see how you can support yourself so that your breath is smooth. And as you exhale, you might even pause for a moment, practicing contentment, santosha. In this moment, in this body, all is well. Your next inhalation, use your hands to push yourself up. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Gwynneth, and in Sanskrit, the word for thank you is Dhanyavadaha.